But first, former President Donald Trump said, quote, "Nobody's gotten to the bottom of 9/11, one day before his New Jersey course is set to host a Saudi-backed golf tournament." Now, Mr. Trump defended the controversial golf series while speaking to an ESPN reporter Thursday. Victims and families of the September 11th terrorist attacks have been criticizing this event. CBS News national correspondent Nikki Battiste reports.
Before teeing off today, former President Donald Trump defended hosting a Saudi-backed golf tournament at his Bedminster club in New Jersey, just 50 miles from Ground Zero.
Well, nobody's gotten to the bottom of 9/11, unfortunately.
He also praised the new LIV Golf Tour, which is backed by the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. In 2018, American intelligence officials concluded the Crown Prince had authorized the murder of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. LIV Golf launched this summer and is poaching stars from the PGA Tour by paying them huge fees for joining and big payouts for winning. The winner of this weekend's event gets $4 million. That's nearly $1.5 million more than the Masters top prize.
My two brothers were murdered on 9/11.
9/11 families released this ad earlier this week. Dennis McGinley's brother, Danny, died at the World Trade Center.
When you first learned that Bedminster would host a LIV Golf tournament, what was your reaction?
Shock, anger, beyond comprehension.
Last September, an FBI report showed evidence that 2 Saudi officials provided support to at least 2 of the 9/11 terrorists. 15 of the 19 9/11 hijackers were Saudi nationals. Last night, Trump and his wife partied with some of the LIV players, like Dustin Johnson, whose contract is reported to be upwards of $100 million. But for McGinley and others who lost loved ones on 9/11, the pain is still raw.
This is such a kick in the gut, a ripping open of the wound again.
A LIV Golf spokesperson tells CBS News tonight the 9/11 families have their deepest sympathy. Former President Trump did not respond to our request for comment, but he is expected to host another LIV Golf tournament later this year. Ben?
Nikki Battiste, thank you so much. Joining us now for more on this is Herb Scribner. He is the breaking news reporter for Axios. So, Herb, you wrote an article for Axios about the LIV Golf tournament and the former president's comments that he made today. So why do you think former President Trump would want to host this and keep defending this highly controversial event?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I would say right off the bat that Trump said he had good relationships with people in Saudi Arabia, with Saudi Arabia as a country. We know he likes golf, so I think those are right off the bat reasons why he would want to defend and host kind of a tournament. At the same time, it's a business move. It adds interest to his name, his brand, and it's a bet on LIV Golf itself. It's an upstart rising golf circuit. There's a lot of momentum toward it. So he's almost putting a bet on the success of LIV Golf moving forward. And at the same time, he mentioned that there's going to be a lot of charity donations from here. And I think lastly, I would just say it keeps him in the news cycle. This conversation might not be happening right now if he didn't host it. So it adds into the daily news coverage, gets his name out there, keeps him in the cycle without having to be hosting a speech or, making some remarks on Truth Social, keeps him in the news cycle on a daily basis.
We also know there's no love lost between the former president and the PGA because he's won at some of their tournaments at his clubs and they haven't gone to him. So that could be part of the motivation, too. The families and victims of 9/11 have heavily criticized those involved in the golf event. What more are we hearing from these families?
Yeah, they're protesting it. There's, an ad that criticizes Trump. They were hoping he would cancel the event, which, obviously didn't happen. And, there's just kind of the idea that they can't accept and don't want to accept and are criticizing the fact that he's accepting money from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia or the Golf League backed by Saudi Arabia. And the fact that it's happening close to Ground Zero, right, in New Jersey. And it's just sticking with them. And, they're continuing to protest and speak about it.
And while this controversy is playing out, the Justice Department has launched an antitrust investigation into the PGA Tour. So how is that connected to LIV Golf, and what potential ramifications could the PGA Tour face?
Yeah, I can't speak fully to that. I can talk about how, the PGA Tour has suspended players in the past who have chosen to participate in, LIV Golf competitions. They offer releases for, competitors to play in different tournaments outside of North America, but they don't allow it in North America. So this is kind of an issue that's been raised. Justice Department looking into it, like you said. It's going to be an issue that both sides are expecting to end up in the courts, and it could be a massive legal battle for years to come. It's going to have an impact on professional golf. It's something that I think we aren't really talking about too much. That I think this tournament's going to actually bring to the forefront. It's something people might hear about more. And there's just a lot of questions about where you can compete, who's competing where, when, and that could have a long-term effect, especially if there's a scenario where you're allowed to compete in both. Like, what does that mean for, competitors and where they choose to play? Could be really intriguing moving forward.
This Saudi-backed LIV Golf Series is one of the rare things uniting Republicans and Democrats. We've heard from both sides of the aisle expressing concerns about this golf series. So is that just kind of noise? Would that have any real impact on whether this series has a future or what happens to it?
I think so. I think the more that we talk about it, and I think the more lawmakers talk about it, the more there's going to be an incentive to get something done and kind of like see a roadmap to where these two kind of circuits go. Obviously, there's been a lot of criticism of Saudi Arabia's, record on human rights, and I think that is uniting a lot of lawmakers in their discussions about the tournament. And it's obviously a touch point that we could see have an impact on the midterms. Is this something that people are going to be talking about, and where does that go? Sports are typically apolitical. This makes sports a little bit political. So there's obviously going to be some discussion moving forward, and that could impact both sides, and especially impact where the Justice Department's investigation goes, and how involved Congress wants to be, and where that leads to moving forward.
All right, Herb Scribner from Axios, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.